Hey, what's up, Colliders? Welcome back to The Collision. Daniel here to talk about the recent movie adaptation of Jane Austen's beloved classic, Emma. So let's talk about it. Pride and Prejudice is probably Jane Austen's maybe her best and her most famous of all her novels. For many people, Emma is as a reader their personal favorite. And actually, I just recently read the novel myself. And again, of the books I've read of her, of Austen so far, it's my favorite. It's a delightful, just a fun book. I know some guys are maybe timid, and as I initially was to, write it off as just sort of fluffy romance. But there's a lot of just kind of clever wit, humor, and just kind of good moral lessons that Jane Austen has put in her book. So I was looking forward to checking out this movie adaptation. The trailers looked amusing. But again, I wanted to wait till I'd finished reading the book to check it out. So I recently checked it out with my wife just a few nights ago, and this movie is good. It's maybe the best way to describe the movie Emma is that this is this total comfort food. And I don't mean that in a negative sense, or that this movie is just fluffy or superficial or kind of without meaning or value, but it's just sort of a feel-good, cozy movie. Again, I just reviewed the adaptation of David Copperfield Dickens' novel, and this movie, having watched the two movies kind of back to back, this movie stands in pretty good contrast for where the David Copperfield one was quite this rapid pace and kind of real zany and over the top and kind of just going all over the place. This is a way more kind of subdued, chill, just sort of relaxing and soothing movie. Again, there is drama, there's romance, there's some clever filmmaking and all that. But for the most part, this is just sort of a feel good, enjoyable movie. Again, the humor in this, much like in the novel, is very kind of British and understated. It's never. I wouldn't call this film a comedy by any means. There's not necessarily tons of just laugh out loud, kind of roll on the floor laughing moments. But there's tons of just kind of subtle, just with kind of looks or glances or understated comments and kind of dry humor that have both me and my wife just sort of chuckling throughout through the whole film. Just sort of the way that these kind of quirky and interesting, although not completely over the top characters interacted. It's amusing, and I know we both had a good time with the humor part of it. Emma character is played by Anya Taylor-Joy, again, who's been kind of become one of the the big kind of up and coming stars lately. She starred in The Queen's Gambit, and she's been in. It seems like she's been in everything lately, and she is great in the role. She's obviously a super talented actress, but she really captures the spirit of Emma from the novel. Is really sort of an arrogant, kind of very vain, kind of frivolous, kind of upper class lady, and in some ways that's what makes the character in the book so intriguing, and that definitely transfers over to the film as well. Is that Emma as a character is actually kind of unique in the fact that although she's she's the namesake of the movie, she's in some ways an unlikable character. She's not a great person, at least sort of on the surface. She's very controlling, she's manipulative, she's vain, she's the whole, if you guys aren't familiar with the any of the story, is really she's matchmaking. She set up her governess, found her a match, and that kind of inflated her pride, her ability that she is an expert in love. So the story really follows just her interactions with her kind of small society around her. She's trying to teach them what love is and how to go about it and how to set up matches. And again, the irony of the book is that as she's the expert on love, she's as the viewer comes to quickly understand, as she's completely misreading all the situations, and she's rather than helping her friend, she's completely kind of ruining and sending them down the wrong path. And a lot of the story and the comedy and then also the kind of the more dramatic moments come from that, from her misreading her circumstances, misreading the situations, and as she as a character kind of comes to realize that she may not be as in control or sort of all knowing as she initially thought she was. And I think that's what makes this movie kind of I don't know about inspirational, but a real positive and wholesome film. Is that although it follows a character that is kind of a nasty person, or at least a prideful person, even if she is, good at heart, you kind of follow, you still kind of cheer for her, because she kind of recognizes that she has faults, and you really see the tension she has with her pride between knowing she's messed up, knowing she needs to go make things right or apologize, and just battling that pride that, keeps her from doing it. And yet ultimately, as, especially as the story progresses, just becoming more and more willing, without sacrificing kind of what makes her character interesting. This isn't sort of a complete 180 change from who she was, but you see that she is striving at least to overcome her flaws and her vices, and I think that's what makes her an interesting character. Is that she's not the traditional heroine. She doesn't have a complete, total change of heart or character, and yet she still does or continually tries to do the right thing. And I think also the movie's much like the book was. It's kind of a good reminder just for all of us, as Christians and just as people, that we don't always know as much as we think we do. We're not always as in control of our circumstances and kind of know all the facts. That there is more going on than meets the eye, and we maybe aren't as all knowing and as wise as sometimes we might kind of deceive ourselves into thinking. I think as Emma learns those lessons, I think just as a viewer, without beating people over the head with this sort of a moral tale, it's definitely some real positive kind of lessons to be learned. As far as this sort of speaking of kind of being a wholesome kind of positive movie, again, this movie is, with a very weird exception, is a wholesome. There's no profanity. There's no super sexual talk. It's again, this is based on a Jane Austen novel, so you don't get some of that filth that gets put into a lot of kind of romantic movies these days. The exception is that there's two moments of just sort of bizarre nudity that comes out of nowhere. The first, you see a male character that's kind of strips down. You see him from the back. You get the full view of the moon's out shining, and then as he gets chained, it's not played in a sexual way. I think they're trying to establish sort of his character, but it's just sort of a weird, you kind of, it felt like more of a what we're used to as a modern kind of romantic. You gotta show some skin and make it kind of a little more sexual. That just felt out of place in a movie that otherwise was a lot more faithful to the novel and sort of that wholesome kind of propriety and cleanness to it. And then there's another kind of similar, but much less overtly or graphic or explicit moment with Emma herself, kind of warming herself by the fire. And again, as we were watching with my wife, those two moments caught us off guard. As sort of where did that come from? But again, they're short moments. They're not played up in a real sexual way. But again, they were both unnecessary, even if they were put in there to try and kind of develop the characters in some way. But again, other than those two things, this is just a good movie. I think it's, don't expect a real high energy, crazy, edge your seat or laugh out loud kind of, laugh a minute type of movie. This is kind of a slower movie with pretty small stakes in it. But it's comforting, it's wholesome, it's uplifting, and I think ultimately it's faithful to the novel, and kind of just as the novel does, this sort of is a delightful, fun way to kind of immerse yourself in that kind of British society and world as a kind of an escape from the world, the craziness of the world we live in today. But hey, if you guys check this movie out, again, this movie came out last year, but it's just now because of COVID and everything just kind of coming out on a home video. We watched this on HBO Max. It's for free if you subscribe to there, or else you can rent it or find it on some other streaming service. But if you guys check this movie out, I'd love to hear what you guys think of it. Whether you've read the book or not, whether you're a guy that maybe your girlfriend forced you to watch it, or you just wanted to escape into that world of kind of middle upper class British society. I'd love to hear what you guys think. And again, if you guys haven't done so, please, we'd love for you guys to subscribe to our channel. We have a lot of stuff coming up. We do a live stream every week, movie reviews, and there's some new stuff coming up in the next couple months that we're excited about. So you're not going to want to miss that. And if you haven't done so, make sure you push that like button on this video. Again, this helps our channel to continue to spread. But most of all, guys, just have a great week. Stay safe out there and continue to collide with your world for Christ.